In the intense conflict between Russia and Ukraine, a new weapon has emerged: not missiles or tanks, but psychological warfare. Ukraine is leveraging this tactic to target North Korean troops fighting on its soil. Carefully crafted messages in Korean promising safety and protection if they surrender have become a sharp tool to undermine the morale of these foreign soldiers. But do these efforts truly have the power to change the course of the war? Or are they merely a temporary strategy unable to break the loyalty of North Korean troops? Let's delve deeper into this psychological battlefield Ukraine is leading and explore whether this represents a revolutionary shift in modern warfare. Ukraine's military intelligence has expanded its successful psychological warfare program to target North Korean troops fighting alongside Russian forces. The main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine operates this initiative through its established I Want to Live project, which has already facilitated the surrender of more than 350 Russian soldiers. The I Want to Live project, launched in 2022, initially aimed at encouraging Russian soldiers to surrender by offering them safety and an alternative to continuing their role in the conflict. Over time, the initiative has evolved to address a broader scope of foreign fighters, including North Korean troops. The program boasts an impressive record, having processed more than 40,000 inquiries from Russian military personnel. It operates with a well-established infrastructure that includes a 24-hour hotline staffed by experts in psychological warfare. This hotline provides direct assistance and reassurance to those contemplating surrender. The project emphasizes adherence to international law, guaranteeing humane treatment under the Geneva Conventions. Soldiers who surrender are given various options for their future, such as staying in Ukraine or relocating to other countries, ensuring their integration into a life free from the burdens of war. To engage North Korean soldiers effectively, Ukrainian forces have crafted tailored Korean language materials distributed through multiple channels. These include leaflets containing detailed, step-by-step instructions on how to surrender safely, assurances of protection, and information about the benefits offered to prisoners of war. The materials highlight the living conditions awaiting those who surrender, portraying a humane and respectful environment. Adding a personal touch to the campaign is a video series featuring a North Korean volunteer currently serving in the Ukrainian armed forces. In these videos, the volunteer directly appeals to his compatriots, offering them hope for support, work, and the opportunity to live a decent life. Ukrainian military intelligence has also produced Korean-language videos showcasing their prisoner of war facilities. These videos depict well-furnished accommodations and meals of high quality, painting a stark contrast to the hardships of war. By using culturally sensitive and personalized messaging, the I Want to Live project aims to dismantle the resolve of North Korean troops and present them with a compelling alternative to continued fighting. The I Want to Live project employs a sophisticated multi-channel digital strategy to maximize its reach and effectiveness in targeting North Korean troops. Recognizing the need for secure and accessible communication, the campaign uses various platforms tailored to different purposes. Telegram serves as a primary tool for confidential communication, enabling North Korean soldiers to coordinate their surrender safely. Meanwhile, YouTube hosts Korean-language video content designed to resonate culturally and emotionally with the target audience, showcasing testimonials and reassurances. A unique feature of the campaign is the use of QR codes embedded in leaflets and other distributed materials. These codes provide direct, instant access to surrender instructions, making the process as seamless as possible for those considering desertion. The project's 24/7 hotline, manned by psychological warfare specialists, further supports this effort, offering real-time guidance and reassurance to soldiers navigating the surrender process. The digital campaign's overarching message underscores the opportunity for North Korean soldiers to escape the regime and go to another country, presenting a compelling alternative to continued loyalty to their authoritarian government. To ensure these materials reach their intended audience, Ukrainian intelligence services have employed innovative delivery methods, including drones and projectiles, to distribute leaflets and QR codes directly across combat zones. Central to the project's outreach is its website, which has become an essential resource for soldiers seeking more information. The site offers detailed instructions on surrender procedures, legal protections under the Geneva Conventions, and the benefits awaiting those who choose to leave the battlefield. By leveraging technology and a diverse range of communication channels, the I Want to Live project continues to redefine psychological operations in modern warfare, offering hope and an escape to those entrenched in conflict. Recent Pentagon assessments reveal a significant military deployment from North Korea to Russia's war effort. The U.S. Department of Defense confirms approximately 11,000 to 12,000 North Korean troops are now stationed in Russian territory. The Pentagon's latest intelligence indicates that about 10,000 North Korean troops are specifically positioned in Russia's Kursk Oblast. This deployment includes specialized military personnel, with South Korean intelligence confirming that many troops are drawn from North Korea's elite 11th Corps, known as the Storm Corps. North Korean troop deployment in Russia highlights a significant and strategic alliance, with numbers estimated between 11,000 and 12,000 personnel stationed across various regions. The majority of these forces, approximately 10,000 soldiers, are concentrated in the Kursk Oblast, a region that has seen intense military activity, particularly following Ukrainian forces' successful surprise operations that reclaimed territory. This deployment includes a notable contingent of 500 officers and is overseen by 3 high-ranking generals, reflecting the importance of this mission in Russia's broader war efforts. Before being assigned to the front lines, these troops underwent rigorous training at key Russian military facilities. Among the locations hosting this training were the Primorsky and Khabarovsk Krai, Amur Oblast, and the Republic of Buryatia. The North Korean contingent has received specific combat training from Russian forces in several key areas. The Pentagon confirms these troops are being trained in infantry tactics, unmanned aerial vehicle operations, artillery operations, and trench clearing techniques. Russian authorities have equipped these forces with Russian uniforms and military gear. The deployment appears designed to provide both combat and combat support capabilities. Military analysts suggest these forces might serve as replacements for Russian units that have suffered significant casualties. Their presence allows Russia to maintain operational strength without conducting additional domestic mobilization. The Storm Corps specialists, trained in infiltration and infrastructure sabotage, bring valuable tactical expertise to the Russian forces. However, military experts note potential challenges, particularly the language barrier between Russian and Korean speakers, which could impact command and control effectiveness. Ukrainian forces have intensified their psychological warfare campaign with precisely targeted messages designed to reach North Korean troops on the battlefield. The military's intelligence directorate has developed a comprehensive approach combining traditional and modern communication methods to encourage enemy surrenders. The Ukrainian military has developed comprehensive Korean language materials specifically designed to guide North Korean soldiers through the surrender process. These detailed instructions, distributed via drone-dropped leaflets in combat zones, provide clear, step-by-step protocols to ensure the safety of surrendering troops. The instructions include lying face down on the ground to signal non-aggression, holding up a white sheet or the surrender leaflet to indicate intent to surrender, dropping all weapons and equipment to further assure Ukrainian forces of compliance, waiting for Ukrainian forces to approach for secure processing. The campaign is built around assurances of safety and humane treatment, emphasizing Ukraine's commitment to international standards. Surrendering soldiers are guaranteed several benefits, including conditions of detention that strictly comply with the Geneva Conventions. These include adequate food supplies, access to medical care, and placement in safe, well-maintained holding facilities. Beyond these guarantees, the campaign highlights the comfort awaiting soldiers who choose to surrender. Living conditions are presented as far superior to the hardships of war, underscoring the humane and respectful treatment they will receive. The messaging specifically addresses cultural sensitivities and includes statements from North Korea's founder, Kim Il-sung, about avoiding fights for foreign imperialists. Ukrainian intelligence services guarantee all prisoners receive proper treatment, regardless of their nationality or ideological views. Ukraine's psychological warfare strategy leverages a multifaceted approach, employing a variety of communication methods to ensure maximum reach and effectiveness in its campaign to target foreign troops, including North Korean soldiers. By combining traditional and modern techniques, Ukraine aims to convey its messages directly to the battlefield while also reaching a wider audience through digital platforms. One of the key methods used in this strategy is the distribution of leaflets via drones. These leaflets, written in Korean, are strategically dropped in combat zones to provide clear and immediate instructions for surrender. This method ensures that the messages reach soldiers on the front lines, offering them a direct and accessible pathway to safety. In addition to leaflets, the campaign incorporates Korean language videos that play a pivotal role in showcasing the humane treatment awaiting prisoners of war. These videos provide a visual narrative, highlighting the comfortable facilities, quality meals, and respectful conditions offered to those who surrender. Such imagery is designed to resonate deeply with soldiers who may be enduring harsh conditions and uncertainty on the battlefield. The campaign also operates a 24-hour hotline, staffed by psychological warfare experts who provide immediate assistance and guidance to soldiers considering surrender. This round-the-clock service offers personalized support, helping to alleviate fears and answer questions, further encouraging troops to lay down their arms. Beyond these direct communication tools, Ukraine utilizes social media channels to disseminate information broadly. Through platforms accessible across borders, the campaign amplifies its reach, ensuring that its messages are not only received by soldiers but also by their families and communities, creating additional pressure to surrender. The project has adapted its technological approach to modern warfare, using smartphones and encrypted communications to reach individual soldiers. Ukrainian psychologists and analysts focus on personalized outreach, providing practical guidance for safe surrender procedures. The campaign includes testimonials from other surrendered soldiers, highlighting the humane treatment they received. Recent reports indicate that some North Korean troops have shown resistance to surrender, with U.S. officials noting cases where soldiers chose extreme measures rather than face capture. In response, Ukrainian forces have intensified their messaging about protection guarantees and future opportunities, emphasizing that surrender offers a path to start life with a clean slate. Recent battlefield reports revealed devastating losses among North Korean forces fighting alongside Russian troops in Ukraine. The impact of their deployment has resulted in unprecedented casualties and complex psychological challenges for these foreign fighters. Despite Ukraine's extensive psychological warfare campaign, documented surrender cases remain limited. The primary obstacle is the intense cultural pressure and fear of repercussions, with reports indicating that some North Korean soldiers have chosen suicide over capture. Ukrainian President Zelensky noted that while several North Korean soldiers were captured, they were seriously wounded and could not be resuscitated. The deployment of North Korean forces in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict has come at a staggering cost, with reports indicating heavy casualties among the troops. Multiple credible sources confirm that the toll on these forces has been particularly severe, especially in the Kursk region, where intense fighting has resulted in substantial losses. In just a single week of combat, over 1,000 North Korean soldiers were reported killed or wounded, a stark illustration of the brutal conditions on the battlefield. Cumulatively, the total casualties among North Korean troops in the Kursk region have exceeded 3,000, encompassing both fatalities and injuries. These numbers underline the vulnerability of foreign forces deployed far from home in an unfamiliar and high-stakes conflict. Even during their initial deployment, North Korean units faced immediate and significant losses. Reports from this period indicate that 100 soldiers were killed and an additional 1,000 sustained injuries, reflecting the intense and unforgiving nature of the operations they were involved in. White House spokesperson John Kirby confirmed that Russian and North Korean military leaders are treating these troops as expendable. The casualties include high-ranking officials, with reports indicating that a general-level officer may be among those killed. The psychological state of North Korean forces presents a striking combination of steadfast dedication and deep-seated desperation. On the battlefield, these troops demonstrate remarkable determination by engaging in mass dismounted assaults against Ukrainian positions. However, such tactics often expose their tactical vulnerabilities, leading to heavy casualties and limited success. Adding to their plight is the ever-present fear of execution by their command should capture by Ukrainian forces appear imminent. This harsh reality creates a climate of constant fear and mistrust within the ranks, further eroding morale and undermining their ability to operate effectively. Compounding these challenges are significant communication barriers, which have reportedly resulted in friendly fire incidents. These missteps not only cause unnecessary losses but also disrupt unit cohesion, leaving soldiers increasingly isolated and vulnerable. The soldiers' motivation is partly financial, with Russia reportedly offering up to $2,000 monthly per soldier. However, their government takes most of this compensation. The North Korean military attempts to boost morale by promising fast-track induction into the Workers' Party, elevated social status for families of the deceased, and recognition as war heroes. Despite these incentives, the troops face severe challenges. They lack an understanding of modern warfare and struggle with the unfamiliar terrain. The language barrier has proven particularly problematic, with soldiers learning only basic Russian military terms like open fire, artillery, and in position. Ukrainian intelligence reports indicate that Russian commanders isolate North Korean troops from communication devices, limiting their access to outside information and potential surrender opportunities. This isolation, combined with cultural pressures and fear of reprisals against their families, has created a situation where many soldiers see death as preferable to surrender. The international community has mobilized significant intelligence resources to monitor North Korean military involvement in Ukraine. South Korea's National Intelligence Service has emerged as a crucial source of verified information about North Korean troop movements and combat activities. South Korea's NIS has provided detailed satellite imagery showing North Korean soldiers gathering at Russian military facilities in Usharsk and Khabarovsk. Through advanced surveillance methods, including artificial intelligence facial recognition technology, South Korean intelligence has identified North Korean forces visiting frontline areas in Ukraine. The intelligence agency confirmed through satellite monitoring that North Korea deployed its first wave of approximately 1,500 special forces personnel between October 8 and October 13. Subsequently, the NIS assessed that North Korea decided to send 4 brigades totaling 12,000 personnel to Russia. In response to the developments involving North Korean troop deployments in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the United States has intensified its strategic partnership with South Korea. This enhanced alliance focuses on key areas of cooperation, reflecting a shared commitment to regional and global security. Military planning has been significantly bolstered, with the United States and South Korea engaging in advanced nuclear and strategic planning initiatives to counter emerging threats. The increased presence of U.S. strategic assets on the Korean peninsula further underscores this commitment, serving both as a deterrent and a reassurance of Allied strength. Regular intelligence sharing efforts, including joint threat assessments and information exchange, ensure that both nations remain vigilant and prepared for evolving challenges. The Pentagon and the White House have independently confirmed the intelligence regarding the deployment of North Korean troops, lending credibility to these reports. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has reiterated the United States' dedication to supporting Ukraine, emphasizing continued security assistance through the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. This coordinated effort highlights the broader implications of North Korea's involvement in the conflict, reinforcing the interconnected nature of global security dynamics. A robust international intelligence network has been established to track North Korean military activities. On October 28, South Korean intelligence and defense officials briefed NATO's North Atlantic Council and Indo-Pacific partners about their assessments. This collaboration enables real-time monitoring of North Korean troop movements, assessment of combat capabilities and tactics, coordination of psychological operations, and tracking of military equipment transfers. The U.S.-South Korea alliance has evolved into a comprehensive global partnership focusing on interoperability and extended deterrence. Through the Nuclear Consultative Group, both nations have deepened their nuclear and new strategic planning efforts. France has joined the international response, condemning North Korea's military support for Russia as an unacceptable escalation and dangerous spread of the conflict. The French government has highlighted concerns about potential technological exchanges between Russia and North Korea that could advance Pyongyang's weapons programs. South Korea's involvement remains primarily focused on intelligence sharing and coordination with NATO, as current legislation restricts direct military aid to conflict zones. However, the South Korean government is considering legislative revisions to its Foreign Trade Act that could enable more direct support to Ukraine. Language barriers have emerged as a critical obstacle in the deployment of North Korean troops in Ukraine, creating significant operational challenges for Russian forces. Military intelligence reports indicate that Russia plans to assign one interpreter for every 30 North Korean soldiers in Kursk Oblast, highlighting the scale of communication difficulties faced by both armies. The Russian military's attempt to bridge the language gap has revealed substantial hurdles. Their basic language training program covers approximately 100 key military terms, but North Korean soldiers are struggling to grasp even these fundamental Russian phrases. One of the most immediate consequences of this language barrier has been the breakdown of effective command and control structures. Orders and instructions from Russian officers are often misunderstood or misinterpreted, leading to confusion among the North Korean troops. This disruption in communication has further complicated tactical coordination, as the North Korean forces are unable to respond quickly and accurately to Russian commands. This disconnect between the two forces has also resulted in delayed response times during critical combat situations, where swift decision-making is crucial. The inability of soldiers to understand one another effectively has not only hampered their ability to react promptly, but has also made it harder to carry out coordinated attacks or defenses. Perhaps most dangerously, the language barrier has significantly increased the risk of friendly fire incidents. In the heat of battle, where clear and precise communication is essential, the failure to communicate accurately has led to accidental engagements between Allied forces. These incidents not only cause unnecessary casualties but also further undermine the cohesion and trust between Russian and North Korean soldiers, weakening their collective operational effectiveness on the front lines. Beyond the basic communication difficulties, deeper cultural differences have compounded the challenges of integrating North Korean troops into Russian military operations. Russian commanders have voiced significant frustration with their North Korean counterparts, a sentiment that has been captured in intercepted audio messages. In these exchanges, Russian soldiers openly express their bewilderment, referring to the North Korean K battalion and lamenting that they don't know what to do with them. This frustration reflects the broader issues at play as Russian forces struggle to integrate soldiers who have not only limited experience with modern warfare tactics, but also face substantial cultural pressures that influence their behavior on the battlefield. These integration challenges are most evident in combat operations, where North Korean troops have shown limited exposure to the tactics and strategies employed by modern armies. This lack of familiarity with advanced military techniques has made it difficult for them to operate effectively alongside Russian forces, particularly in fast-paced and high-stress combat situations. Their inability to adapt to contemporary warfare tactics has hindered their ability to contribute fully to the overall combat effort, creating a gap in the operational capabilities of the combined forces. At the command level, the difficulties are just as pronounced. The integration of North Korean soldiers into Russian command structures has proven complex, especially at lower echelons where direct communication and coordination are vital for effective operations. The differing military hierarchies, training backgrounds, and leadership styles have created friction between the two forces, making it difficult for Russian commanders to incorporate North Korean units into cohesive units. Cultural barriers also play a significant role in shaping the behavior of North Korean soldiers, particularly when it comes to the notion of surrender. In the context of the broader North Korean military culture, there is a deeply ingrained resistance to surrender, which is often seen as dishonorable. This cultural pressure places additional stress on North Korean soldiers, making it harder for them to accept the possibility of laying down their arms, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Lastly, the flow of communication between the two forces has been severely restricted. North Korean soldiers have limited access to the information channels and communication tools that would help them integrate more smoothly into the Russian military framework. This lack of access further exacerbates the coordination problems, isolating North Korean troops from critical updates and making it more difficult for them to receive orders, intelligence, or support in real time. These cumulative challenges highlight the profound difficulties in integrating North Korean forces into the Russian military structure, creating a situation in which both sides struggle to make the most of their alliance. The effectiveness of military operations has been significantly impacted by these communication barriers. Military analysts confirm that language difficulties have bedeviled combat coordination between Russian and North Korean forces. The situation is further complicated by the North Korean soldiers' limited exposure to modern warfare capabilities and tactics. Despite attempts to overcome these challenges through translation technology and interpreter support, the communication gap continues to affect operational efficiency. Ukrainian forces have leveraged these difficulties in their psychological warfare campaign, developing targeted Korean language materials that consider both linguistic and cultural sensitivities. The language barrier extends beyond tactical operations to affect strategic planning and coordination. Russian military leadership's frustration is evident in their assessment of integration challenges, with ongoing friction in operations reported in the Kursk region. This communication breakdown has led to operational delays and reduced combat effectiveness, particularly in situations requiring rapid response or complex coordination. Military analysts predict these integration challenges will persist, affecting Russian operations in the near term. The situation is exacerbated by the cultural and linguistic isolation of North Korean troops, who face additional pressures due to their limited ability to communicate effectively with their Russian counterparts or access information about their operational environment. Russian military commanders have implemented comprehensive measures to counter Ukraine's psychological warfare campaign targeting North Korean soldiers. The defense strategy combines sophisticated electronic warfare systems with strict troop isolation protocols to maintain operational security. Moscow has deployed an extensive network of electronic warfare systems along the front line, with at least one major system covering every 10 kilometers of the front. These systems focus primarily on defeating Ukrainian UAVs delivering propaganda materials, disrupting enemy tactical communications, intercepting and decrypting Ukrainian military communications, and blocking cellular networks in combat zones. The Russian military has achieved significant success in real-time interception and decryption of Ukrainian tactical communication systems, including the widely used Motorola 256-bit encrypted systems. Russian commanders maintain strict control over North Korean forces through multiple isolation measures. According to Ukrainian intelligence, Russian authorities confiscate mobile phones from their soldiers before they encounter North Korean troops. The isolation strategy extends beyond just physical barriers, aiming to sever any connections between the North Korean soldiers and the local population. By ensuring that these troops remain isolated, Russian commanders prevent them from interacting with civilians or gaining any external perspectives that could challenge their perception of the conflict. In addition to these physical separations, communication restrictions are rigorously enforced. North Korean soldiers are blocked from accessing outside information, including news or other media that might offer an alternative view of the war or their participation in it. This control over the flow of information is crucial in maintaining a unified front and preventing any dissent or questioning among the troops. Geographical containment also plays a critical role in this strategy, as Russian forces take steps to limit the movement of North Korean soldiers. By confining them to specific areas, the Russian military ensures operational security and reduces the risk of these troops inadvertently stumbling upon critical information or engaging in unauthorized activities. Lastly, unit segregation is implemented to further control the exposure of North Korean forces to Ukrainian messaging. The Russian military has withdrawn major headquarters out of range of Ukrainian artillery and placed them in hardened structures. These command centers connect to the Ukrainian civil telecommunications network and use field cables to maintain communication with brigade headquarters. Russian forces have established a multi-layered approach to information control. At the battalion level and below, Russian forces primarily use unencrypted analog military radios, reflecting a shortage of trained signalers at the tactical level. This simplified communication structure allows for better monitoring and control of North Korean units. The Russian military command has instituted several key control measures aimed at strengthening their operational security and maintaining a tight grip on their forces, particularly when dealing with North Korean troops. One of the primary strategies is the protection of command posts, with headquarters now housed in hardened structures that are equipped with secure microlink systems. These fortified locations help ensure that Russian command remains intact and functional, even in the face of potential attacks or disruptions. To further safeguard communications, the Russian military has integrated its infrastructure with civilian telecommunications networks. This redundancy allows for enhanced resilience in case of technical failures or attacks on military communication systems. By relying on both military and civilian networks, the Russian forces are better equipped to maintain continuous communication across different units, which is crucial for operational coordination. When it comes to tactical communications, Russian commanders have implemented a basic Russian language training program for their North Korean counterparts. This program focuses on teaching essential military terms, ensuring that there is at least a minimum level of communication that allows for operational control, even if the soldiers do not fully grasp the language. Information flow within the ranks is tightly controlled, with strict protocols determining what information reaches North Korean troops. This information filtering process ensures that only carefully curated messages are shared, preventing soldiers from accessing sensitive or conflicting details that might impact their loyalty or morale. Additionally, Russian electronic warfare capabilities have played a crucial role in maintaining control over the battlefield. These capabilities have been particularly effective in jamming Ukrainian propaganda broadcasts, preventing enemy messages from reaching Russian or North Korean forces. The disruption of drone operations, especially those carrying leaflets designed for psychological warfare, has also been a key tactic. Russian forces have succeeded in blocking cellular communications within combat zones, cutting off the ability for troops to make unauthorized calls or access outside information. Finally, efforts to prevent unauthorized internet access ensure that soldiers remain isolated from any external sources that could undermine their position. The Russian military has also established troop groups in Kursk, Bryansk, and Belgorod Oblasts to defend settlements along the border with Ukraine. These defensive formations serve the dual purpose of protecting Russian territory while maintaining control over North Korean units. Recent Pentagon assessments indicate that Russian commanders have provided North Korean troops with Russian uniforms and equipment, making it more difficult for Ukrainian forces to specifically target them with psychological warfare materials. The integration of North Korean forces into Russian units allows for closer supervision and control of their activities. Russian countermeasures have effectively limited the exposure of North Korean troops to Ukrainian psychological operations, though at the cost of operational flexibility and communication efficiency. The isolation tactics have created significant challenges for unit coordination and battlefield responsiveness. The psychological warfare campaign targeting North Korean soldiers in Ukraine marks a significant shift in modern military strategy, with implications extending far beyond the current conflict. Analysis from military experts suggests this approach will reshape future warfare tactics and international relations. The evolution of psychological operations shows a clear trajectory toward more sophisticated digital approaches. According to recent assessments, Russia has increased hacker attacks on Ukraine by 250% since 2020, while attacks on NATO countries have surged by more than 300%. This digital battlefield has become increasingly crucial as advanced computing and big data analytics enhance targeting capabilities, brain science applications improve message effectiveness, artificial intelligence enables better prediction of behavioral responses, and multi-spectrum communication channels increase reach and impact. The growing military partnership between North Korea and Russia signifies a strategic shift with potentially far-reaching implications. Recent developments highlight a substantial strengthening of their alliance, marking a pivotal moment in their cooperation. One of the most notable areas of collaboration is military technology, where both nations have advanced their missile and submarine capabilities, bolstering their defense assets and enhancing their strategic deterrence. This partnership provides mutual benefits, with Russia gaining access to North Korea's unique technologies and North Korea strengthening its military infrastructure through Russia's more advanced systems. In terms of combat experience, the alliance has provided an opportunity for both sides to conduct battlefield testing of weapons and military doctrines. This joint exposure to real combat scenarios allows for the refinement of their tactics, ensuring that both forces are better prepared for future engagements. As they test and adapt to each other's methods, their combined military effectiveness continues to grow. Intelligence sharing has also become a crucial element of their partnership. Enhanced coordination and joint operations have allowed both countries to share valuable information, which increases their operational efficiency and strengthens their security posture. This improved collaboration in intelligence ensures that they remain a formidable force in addressing threats and maintaining strategic stability. Lastly, the partnership between North Korea and Russia has provided both countries with an opportunity to reduce international pressure through sanctions evasion. By working together, they have found ways to mitigate the impact of economic and political sanctions, thereby securing more resources and greater autonomy on the global stage. The relationship has evolved beyond a mere marriage of convenience, with both nations taking substantial steps to upgrade bilateral ties. North Korea's provision of military assistance has secured Russian support in the UN Security Council, effectively neutralizing potential international sanctions. The conflict has revealed crucial insights about psychological warfare in the digital age. Military analysts have identified several key developments that will influence future operations. The effectiveness of psychological operations now depends less on technological sophistication and more on the ability to deploy high-volume, low-cost technology. This shift has led to the emergence of participatory warfare, where the lines between combatants and civilians become increasingly blurred. Russian countermeasures have demonstrated the importance of electronic warfare systems, with at least one major system covering every 10 kilometers of the front line. However, these defensive measures often create operational challenges, particularly in maintaining effective command and control structures. The integration of psychological warfare with conventional military operations has created new challenges for military planners. The U.S. Department of Defense has identified several critical areas requiring attention, as protection against psychological warfare weapons, defense against information collection and manipulation, development of countermeasures for emerging technologies, and enhancement of troop resilience to psychological operations. Military experts predict that future conflicts will increasingly focus on the psychological domain. The war's most valuable territory has become the space between the ears of military leaders and soldiers alike. The psychological battleground in modern conflicts demands innovative approaches across several critical areas to effectively influence and shape the outcomes. One of the primary considerations is the integration of information warfare, which involves blending traditional tactics with cutting-edge digital technologies to control the narrative and manipulate perceptions. This requires seamless coordination of both strategic messaging and rapid dissemination of information to exploit vulnerabilities in enemy forces. The utilization of digital platforms plays an increasingly central role in these efforts, as they offer wide-reaching avenues to distribute propaganda, psychological operations, and disinformation. These platforms not only serve as tools for communication, but also as battlegrounds themselves, where the contest for hearts and minds takes place in real time, often reaching a global audience. In addition to technological and tactical considerations, cultural sensitivity has become a crucial factor. Understanding the cultural contexts and values of target audiences, such as foreign troops or civilians, is vital for crafting messages that resonate and achieve the desired psychological impact. Missteps in cultural messaging can lead to alienation and loss of effectiveness, so ensuring that content is tailored to the specific cultural frameworks of the target group is essential. Finally, a multi-channel communication strategy is paramount in maximizing the reach and effectiveness of psychological operations. Employing a diverse array of communication channels, including traditional media, social platforms, encrypted messaging, and physical materials like leaflets, ensures that messages reach their intended audience through various touchpoints, making it harder for adversaries to block or counter the efforts. The conflict has demonstrated that psychological warfare success depends not just on message delivery but on understanding deep cultural and psychological factors. Military analysts note that the real impact of next-generation psychological warfare capabilities may be less important than leadership's assumptions about their effectiveness. These developments have prompted major military powers to reassess their psychological warfare capabilities. China, for instance, has shown increasing interest in both advanced computing and brain science applications for military purposes. This trend suggests future conflicts will likely see an even greater emphasis on psychological operations, particularly in scenarios involving multinational forces. Ukraine's advanced psychological warfare campaign against North Korean troops marks a significant shift in modern military strategy. Through targeted Korean language messages, surrender protocols, and multi-channel communication, Ukraine has effectively reached enemy combatants. Combined with intelligence cooperation from South Korea and Western allies, these efforts highlight the evolving nature of battlefield operations. North Korea's involvement in Ukraine carries long-term implications for global military dynamics, and experts predict psychological warfare will play a critical role in future conflicts, especially with multinational forces. What are your thoughts on the increasing role of psychological operations in modern warfare? We would love it if you like the video and leave a comment before you leave. Thanks for watching. See you in the next videos.